1 year ago, we released our cybersecurity predictions report. As the year closes, we can now reflect on our statement and review the accuracy of our predictions. We made 8 predictions for 2018 where we discussed regulations such as GDPR, the implications of ubiquitous encryption, the defense of aggregated data, ransomware, and how insider threats will impact cloud security. We also discussed the threat to data aggregators and the specifics of cryptocurrencies hacks. We believed that many of these predictions would also have a profound impact on privacy, and the events of 2018 largely show that we were spot on. Upon reflection, we assigned scores as per the report card below. Number 1, privacy fights back, A grade. GDPR procrastination now, panic later, A. Disruption of things, grade B. The rise of cryptocurrency hacks, A grade. Data aggregators, B grade. Cloud security, B grade. Encrypted by default application implications for all, C positive grade. The next giant leap for the industry, B grade. Early and often, as we sought evidence either supporting or contradicting our 2018 predictions, it became apparent that our 2018 forecasts were incredibly timely, with several predictions playing out within the first 6 months of the year. Our 6 month summary was documented in our blog. Supporting evidences, privacy fightbacks. Privacy concerns were pushed into the limelight with several key movements in 2018 that had far reaching global impact. Cambridge Analytica use of private customer data provided by Facebook will likely be remembered as the event that thrust privacy and data protection into the public consciousness. Facebook was fined for serious breaches of data protection law and failure to sufficiently protect the privacy of its users. Indeed, in the survey of Forcepoint customers, concerns over privacy ranked as a top security issue. In May, the European Union enforced its general data protection regulations. The EU initiative to consolidate varying data protection regulations across EU member states and place an emphasis on the protection of personal data has now been discussed in the US Senate with input from Silicon Valley technology organizations. Additional points are Amazon was forced to address reports of virtual assistants oversharing information. British police started to use biometric data to identify individuals on the streets of the UK. Online advertising brokers mapped the performance of online ads to physical in-store purchase, leading to discussion around the implications of such data collection and its intended on unintended consequences. In August, the Mozilla organization announced steps to take a more proactive stance on privacy preserving features. Next point is the EU e-privacy regulations proposals continue to dark debate and action on the topic of preserving an individual privacy in electronic communication. Next point which we will cover is GDPR procrastination now and panic later. Prediction: most organizations will not be ready prior to the GDPR enforcement data, and panic-driven policies will stifle businesses as they struggle to become compliant. A survey by Forcepoint found that only 14% of those surveyed felt that they were completely prepared for the rollout of GDPR in 2018. On or around GDPR day, many businesses struggled to implement the intent of the regulations, blocking EU businesses struggled to implement the intent of the regulations, blocking EU citizens and masses from accessing their non-EU web properties. GDPR is also associated with 16% more websites deploying cookie consent policies compared with the start of the year. The possibility of large monetary fines seem to have done little to stem the tide of data breaches during 2018. While Facebook was fined the maximum fine as permitted by the regulations at the time of the Cambridge Analyst incident, the fine would have been much higher than the breach occurred post GDPR. Additional points are during the year large airlines were alleged to have lost credit card details via web scripts, intercepting personal data and hacks of back-end systems leading to leak of passport data. Facebook was again in the headline after it was relieved software bugs permitted access to the accounts of 50 million users. The UK's ICO encountered students to make use of their data subjects' right to request information about themselves and their exam performance, including the comments made on the paper by the examiner. Next point is disruption of things. On 2018 survey showed 76% of the customers are concerned about the security of Internet of Things IoT devices or infrastructure either within their company or supply chain. Our predictions that suggested to IoT would not be subject to ransomware given the replaceable nature of the devices and so reduced likelihood that affected organization would pay the ransom. As 2018 unfolded, we saw several attacks targeted to IoT but not at the scale in which we anticipated. Additional points are the threat of cyber attack is disrupting the IoT marketplace. Brain and company found that enterprise customers would buy 70% more IoT devices if their security concerns were addressed compared if not. The FBA warns that cyber threat across can use unsecured IoT devices as proxies to anonymously pursue malicious cyber activities. Next point is the rise of cryptocurrency hacks. The last year was notable by the number of and unfortunately successful nature of attacks against cryptocurrency exchanges, resulting in millions of dollars being lost to cyber criminals. We saw this prediction come true as a few short weeks after we published our 2018 report. Here are a few examples. Tether announced a $31 million loss due to an external hacker that had a knock-on effect for other cryptocurrencies against the dollar. Bitcoin Gold announced that their GitHub hosted window app had been tampered with. A suspicious version of the app was hosted online for over 4 days. Japanese cryptocurrency exchanger Zaif was hacked for $60 million. The National Police Agency of Japan announced that cryptocurrency thefts totaled 60.5 billion yen in the first half of 2018, with the majority targeting towards cryptocurrency agencies. Data aggregators. Our prediction was a data aggregator will be breached in 2018 using a known attack method. As data aggregators combine data collected from disparate sources, they naturally become a target for attackers. Their data collectors certainly dealt with an unfair share of incidents and vulnerabilities, but these were more the results of unforced errors rather than malicious attacks. In our 2018 survey, we discovered that 59% of ForcePoint customers surveyed had privacy concerns such as data collection, sharing, and storage raised by the employees or customers. Additional points are, as noted above, Facebook was fined the maximum permissible fine under the regulations of the time for its involvement in the Cambridge Analyst case. Had the incident occurred post 25 May 2018, the fine could have been orders of magnitude higher. Census and voter data sets are prime examples of aggregated data. A large a repository of 14.8 million records containing US tax and voter record was found on an unsecured server by a researcher in 2018. Cloud security. Prediction was adoption of cloud technologies will increase the risk of a breach from a trusted insider. In our predictions, we spoke of the importance of credential management for code-based system. Spoiler alert, in our upcoming 2019 cybersecurity predictions report were revisit password habits and the risk posed by insiders. While cloud adopters struggled with security configuration, they also struggled to lock down access to data stored in the cloud. Additional reading. Administrator credentials were used to access the corporate email server at Deloitte. Two-factor authentication had not been deployed, with access gated by only a password. A 2016 breach at Uber can still offer insights on how a domino effect of credentials left on a GitHub repository can be used to access AWS account. Last point is encrypted by default implications for all. Prediction was an increasing amount of malware will become MITM malware. While our specific predictions around MITM malware did not transpire in the way we anticipated, our prediction centered on unique encryption across the web. The adoption of HTTPS was enthusiastic, and realization of that secure communication was now a base requirement was encouraged by politicians and software vendors. Additional points are Google Chrome's development team set out their plan to encourage adoption of HTTPS and began to deliver it with their new version of Chrome. Chrome users now see clear warnings when sharing private data with non-secure websites, and HTTPS enabled websites are targeted as the accepted norm. US senators have called for the adoption of DONT DNS over TLS or DOH DNS over HTTPS technologies to further preserve privacy when citizens interact with US government websites.